this meeting. Hilly, go for it.
So, since
Wait,
our
hold on
last
one
meeting,
second.
the Board of Selectmen met on Tuesday and discussed what had gone on. Are you
Well,
telling me to stop?
Well, I'm just gonna say, I will not make it official, but I would like to just talk as on the side, as not as my official capacity, but I would like to just say something about it later on. Is that
Sure.
okay? All right.
Yeah, that's okay.
Now you go right
So
ahead. You take
the
it
Board
away,
of
girl.
Selectmen met to talk about Cahoon Hollow specifically, it seemed, over the 4th of July weekend. And I believe that that is where our conversation stemmed from last week with Suzanne. And it seemed we clearly had a problem on 4th of July. It seems we've had a problem for the previous several 4th of Julys and select Saturdays, for a number of years now. So it is obvious that we do have a busing drop-off problem. That being said, COVID obviously makes the situation a little bit worse. We've talked with town council and received guidance from town council. And what's interesting about buses and transportation and vehicles for hire is that, number one, I learned this morning on my DPH call that bus transportation is not subject to DPH rules and regulations or any of the COVID guidance. They fall under Mass Department of Transportation. And so when I asked to see the specific guidance, they pointed me to the Mass Department of Transportation, which is another needle in a haystack of trying to find anything on buses. So what I understand from other programs like camps, for instance, that are operating in the Commonwealth that are just now allowed to have bus transportation for children is that the kids do not have to be 6 feet apart if they're wearing masks, and the windows are supposed to be open, and they're supposed to go on shorter trips of, say, 15 minutes or less. So I don't think we can take that guidance and apply it to buses because we don't have the legal standing to do that because they fall under the Department of Transportation and not the Department of Public Health. So I'm sort of baffled by that. But Suzanne and I have spent a great deal of time talking about this, and it seems to me that we can't interfere with bus transport because we don't have the legal authority to do so. But what we can do is enforce the social distancing on the beach by a set number of people that will allow on each beach based on the beach size. And we're gonna go with high tide because we can't have different numbers for different hours of the day because that's just unmanageable and unenforceable. So if we take high tide and measure from the high tide line to the base of the dune, we can get a square footage and then break that square footage down into 12-foot squares. And then we can come up with the number of people that we can allow safely on our beach and enforce that. So that to me seemed like a more scientific approach and something that was more within the realm of our jurisdiction versus sort of stepping outside of our jurisdiction and doing something that could get us into some trouble. So town council agreed. I think he sent the email back to all of you because I copied you on our correspondence.
Right.
And so I'm waiting for Suzanne to get me the square footage numbers, and then we will calculate the number of people we can safely fit. And I guess once we have that number, then we'll look at the number of parking spaces and add 4 people per car, or 5 people per car in their 12-foot square, and come up with a number that will work for all of us. So that's step 1. Step 2, we're looking at more signage. It seems the problem lies within the 20 to 30 age range, or maybe even a little bit younger. And so it's not localized to Wellfleet. Obviously, Falmouth had problems, Barnstable had problems, Mashpee had problems. And so we're trying to come up with a way to get at that age group through social media or through colleges disseminating information. And the county is helping us all with that. So while I'm not extremely, I don't know that it's going to be a successful campaign, only because it's July 15th or 16th today. And you know, by the time folks get on board with something that would really hit people, I feel like it's going to be a little bit too late. But I did see some signs. Lydia Vivante reached out to me from another Cape organization that had some signage that was like a little more quirky, that generation might like pay attention to. But I've reached out to the local Cape graphic folks to see if they could work with us on sort of a more Wellfleet specific sign that might get to them. I don't think COVID's going away anytime soon, so the work we're putting in now will probably be beneficial for us next summer too. So we're going to work those fronts, and the police are on board. We both, myself and Kevin LaRocco, reached out to the bus companies, so we've spoken to them. We let them know we're concerned. We let them know there's going to be a cutoff as far as once we reach that quota, we will accept no buses and you'll be turned away. And, you know, I have to say, I learned a lot in talking to the bus company, because I didn't realize that they're like exclusively chartered buses. So they don't just stop at the park and ride and pick people up. They don't have a set loop anymore where they go here to pick people up because Whitecrest is closed. So you have to specifically hire the whole bus. And from what I gathered from the conversation with the bus company, there was one bus on 4th of July that was over capacity, and they established a 50% capacity, but that's just self-induced. And when the bus driver showed up, there were more people waiting to get on the bus, and the bus driver was new and let them all on. So they did counsel that particular driver and let him know that's not okay. And, you know, you really can't pick up additional people. So they've addressed it that way. They've heard our concerns, because I think I spoke to them and Kevin spoke to them. And that's how I would recommend we move forward at this time until we come up with something better. But I think what this is enforceable. It provides a little more education if we can get some Wellfleet specific graphics out there. And I would say that I think the other half of our problem, which may even be the larger piece that we have nothing at all to do with, is the alcohol on the beach. So I think when these folks begin to drink, they begin to lose sight of, oh, right, I need my mask. Oh, right, I can't come too close to you. And nor do they care. So they're coming here to party. And those are the folks that are going to be the most difficult to get into compliance safely.
I have a question. Ken.
Go ahead, Janet.
Okay. I listened to the select board meeting, and again, just to piggyback on what Hillary said, it's obvious this is not a new problem. It's got new ramifications because of COVID, but it's not a new problem in Wellfleet. And I feel I'm so happy with what you're proposing, Hillary, because I think it's within our venue. It's not within our venue to monitor buses and Uber drivers and et cetera, and where they're going to be dropped off and how many people are there. What my concern is the ownership of the enforcement. You know, we can set a goal, and our goal is to have X amount of people on the beach. Who is going to say to that bus, that Uber driver, that group of people, sorry, we're closed? That's going to be the challenge. And I think this is just me, Janet Drohan. Where is the partnership with the Beachcomber? I don't have any knowledge of the history of that, but there should be a partnership in this with the town and Beachcomber so that the enforcement perhaps can be shared. You know, it might require an FTE, you know, but we haven't had any additional FTEs due to COVID at the beach. So this might be the place where, in order to ward off serious ramifications from this, we have someone who's going to enforce it and enforce it well. But I don't know who's going to go down and walk the beach to make sure they're compliant, who's going to stop people at the top of the hill, and how effective that's going to be. I mean, I think our goal is admirable and appropriate for the Board of Health. I love it. I think it works much better than trying to monitor who gets dropped off. That's not within our purview. We don't know how to do that. We know how to say, this is healthy, this isn't healthy. So that's my question in my mind right now, even, loving the solution as I do.
So I would suggest that we have folks at the beaches, and really I think it's localized to Cahoon Hollow. So I don't hear we have these problems at Newcomb or McGuire. So we have people at Cahoon Hollow. We have uniformed officers there. So the uniformed officers with the beach department staff will enforce this. So
Okay.
I think it can be successful, but again, we have to try it out and see.
Okay. Thank you.
Hillary,
Ken? Well, Nick, let me just say this first off.
Sure,
okay?
Ken. You got this.
Well, I can't, because, I've done some Lyft, I do some Uber, I do some delivery to the airports and such in the past. I worked the past weekend, okay? What I found was the town is killing itself overall because you're not controlling where people are parking and how they're getting to the beach, for one thing. Also, I'll expunge on that a little bit more, but Todd Labat, the owner of the Como, he's a good friend of mine. He doesn't really like the buses because they're not really a clientele of his. Basically, the Cahoon Hollow, even though the Beachcomber is there, is worldwide known. It's a very popular beach worldwide. The buses that get dropped off, they're just going down the beach. They're not partaking of the Comer's food, whatever. They're just not there for that. They're there to go down to the beach. They just say, hey, I went to the Cahoon Hollow. Doesn't mean they went to the Beachcomber. I know Todd would love to work with the town, but sometimes I wonder if the town wants to work with Todd. You look at last year, the year before, when they increased Whitecrest up to $40. That was kind of like, in my opinion, was just an attack against, or just to try to siphon more money out of people that were taking how Todd had the Funk Bus running back and forth between Whitecrest and Cahoon Hollow. Right now, I don't see any kind of a mutual coming together from the Cahoon Hollow with Todd and the town. I think the town is being more aggressive and anti-business on the ocean side. I did notice there were some police around, but Hillary, the cops aren't there all the time at the top of the hill. You do have, Todd controls people coming down the hill. They stop the, cars or whatever coming down into the parking lot, but there's not a cop there 24 hours a day. And right now I see the expense of the police as a big deal, the big item that I have an issue with, especially they had a police officer down at LeCount Hollow or McGuire's Landing Saturday, shooing people along. They had like 6 to 8 cars backed up at, LeCount Hollow all day long. And I'm not sure how long that police officer was there during the day, but he was there probably about at least 2, maybe 3 hours. And you're not going to be able to do that at every single beach. And what can you say about, what if people come down to Cahoon Hollow and they say, we're going to the National Seashore.
Yep.
We're not going onto the town beach. That's the issue you're going to have because we don't control the National Seashore. I know it was in that letter about you can't control people going on the National Seashore unless you bring the National Seashore into it, as far as I know. I could be wrong on that, Hillary, but all we control is that one section of beach where the lifeguards is there. Am I not correct?
No, that's correct. And I did write that to Greg Corbo, the attorney, model for like allowing people to the beach kind of should change in this COVID environment, because I wonder, like, maybe we need to go to like the beach tag model like they do in Jersey, where you wear your beach tag, you go to the beach. Like, I'm not sure exactly how we're going to handle it.
Yeah. I understand this is stuff that we should be considering and looking at. But again, like how you said in the conversation earlier, this may be something that we could hopefully, that could help us out in the future. Right now, I think it's, it's July 17th. Before you get any information back from Suzanne, could be forever. Who knows? It could be next month. And by that time, the summer's basically over. The only thing it's a difficult situation. And hopefully, I know COVID's going to probably be around forever, just like the flu. There's some things, the H1N1, that was 60 million people. But hopefully we'll get to the point where COVID's just part of our regular life and we'll have a shot for it. But I think we're looking at a situation that is a small problem, and we're trying to exacerbate a larger situation to try to fix a small problem. Because from everything I've heard from Todd, the 4th of July is, really when the buses come down. Every other weekend, this past weekend when I worked, there wasn't a bus. I didn't see a bus in town. So I'm not sure if there was one around. I don't know if you have that, Hillary, or not, but I didn't see a bus. I know the people, I was dropping off people, and that's one thing that this town should start looking into. How much, it's not our purview, but where people are parking, they parked at the pier, they parked at Mail Beach, they called me, I dropped them off. How much money this town is losing that could probably pay for a police officer to be at the beaches all the time, but I would one thing I would always like to consider, they closed Whitecrest Beach, which has caused a problem that the people only can have 3 beaches to go to instead of 4. So, but I'll leave it at that. I spoke my mind. Now, Nick, what would you have?
Yeah. Well, actually, no, you actually touched upon the 2 points I was going to raise about drop-offs, because I can speak to Newcomb Hollow. Very often, there are a lot of cars waiting. It's not just 5 or 6. And once the beach is considered dense enough for our purposes, are we going to let people empty their cars and let these people walk in? Because that's what happens. How well do you control when I say drop-offs, it's people who are waiting in line, and sometimes there may be 15 or 20 cars, because Newcomb Hollow, you have that stretch of parking. I mean, it goes back to Grosse Hill Road. It's not quite as congested as LeCounte's there backing up. But so that's a big issue. And the whole issue about the seashore is very interesting. We can't prevent people, I guess, walking through town property to get to the seashore. Hillary, is that right?
I don't believe we can, but we don't have the ability to follow them either. And we don't have the ability when someone says, well, my family's in square A2 over there, I'm just going to join them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean,
but
so,
but that's okay. No. But that's okay,
no.
Because we have to govern our own town beach. And if they go off our town beach and go down the seashore, there's nothing we can do about it.
Well, that's what I was saying.
I don't think we can stop people from going to the seashore. I don't know.
Well, that's the only question I had about that. About access through town property. Is there any way that's possible? And I guess there really isn't any way of stopping that.
There is.
Well, I think this solution is never going to be 100% effective. I think it's a soft awareness that there's limitations at Cahoon Hollow now, that there's someone up at the top of the beach that's going to question how many people are coming there. And I think that might at least delete the numbers of people and the potential for problems of drinking and etc. But I don't think, no matter what we do, we're giving people a message that this is found to be unsafe for public health, okay? And then we attempt to enforce it, but I don't think that can be done by us. All we can do is strongly recommend to the select board and to the police and fire that this, from a public health perspective, is not effective. And the outcome that we're looking to achieve is less crowding at the beach. And here's the parameters that we can meet. Bingo. They have to figure out how to do that. We're not a beach monitor committee. No. That's not within our purview. Hillary and Doug can look at standards and statutes in town and check every restaurant, etc. But they can't start walking the beach every weekend. I mean, that's totally unreasonable. So we don't have a beach patrol department of health.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah.
up to the town. to
Yes,
fix it.
and let me just say, you know, the big disturbance that we had this past weekend, well, the 4th of July, the 60 people that they had to escort off the beach. From what I can understand, that group was on National Seashore property. If I'm correct, Hillary?
I'm not sure about that.
Well, from what I can understand with that thing, it was like getting information. Somebody was walking up on the dunes, and this person was being yelled at to get off the dunes, and so that's always down. You know, from my understanding, the beach that we control is basically the front of the parking lot that the Beachcomber rents. Basically, we got like 150 feet of parking space right there. So I'm not up. You know, I can't say for certain I wasn't around to see that. I didn't work the 4th of July weekend, but I do agree with you, Janet. We can't babysit the beaches, and there will not be enforcement up at the top of the hill. There will not be a cop standing there saying, okay, you can't go there anymore. But, you know, because people can just say, I'm going down the National Seashore. You know, I'm going to go off to the sides. I know we're trying to alleviate a problem that basically occurs most of the time, one time a year. And that's been going on forever because I've heard about it. You know, I've listened to people complain about the situation where, you know, just the 4th of July weekend. I'm not even sure it happens on Labor Day weekend as much as the 4th of July, but, you know, young people are stupid basically, and they have no brains. And yeah, I'm going to stop right there because I'm really not supposed to be talking, am I?
I know. I wanted to ask the question, does anybody know how the National Seashore enforces their limitation of beachgoers on their beach? What do they do now at Marconi? What do they do at Coast Guard? How do they manage their outcome of people on the beach?
So they do not have to follow the Massachusetts Department of Public Health rules and regulations regarding COVID or mass reopening. They are not enforcing anything that we are. They have their showers open. They don't have
Right.
bathhouses open, which is good, but they have their water stations open. I mean, we can't rely on them or what they're doing to assist us in COVID planning.
Okay,
Just
so
let it be-
all the
Okay.
ocean beaches are open to anyone.
Right.
Anyone can walk on them, sit on them, swim on them. As far as sharks, as far as COVID, the National Seashore has no responsibility for anybody on their land. But they can give you a ticket for having a dog on the beach for $50.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would state
So-
it that way, but they're not subject to our Massachusetts plans.
Yeah. But I don't know what standards they have for their beachgoers. Like, when did they close Coast Guard?
Okay, hold on. I just received an email from them. Hold on one sec. Let me
Okay.
see if I can pull it up.
And Janet, you can go to the National Seashore with your pet. You have to have your pet on your leash at all
Oh, I
times.
know. I use that as a facetious example, Ken.
Well,
But
I
I
want
don't
to make
even
sure
think
the
it's-
record was correct.
All right, let me share my screen. Oh, Rebecca, can you enable screen sharing or?
She's not there.
She'll be back, I'm sure.
No, she left us.
Okay, in the absence of that, let me just read it to you because here's what it says. Cape Cod National Seashore, welcome to the beach. Wellfleet update July 16th. Please follow state and CDC COVID-19 health and safety guidelines. Maintain at least 6 feet between you and others and wear face coverings when physical distancing cannot be maintained. Place beach blankets 12 feet from others to allow walking room. Marconi. Lifeguards are on duty. There is a fee to get in. Porta potties are available. Restrooms are closed due to construction. Contract delayed by COVID-19 impacts. Drinking water bottle filler is on. Outdoor showers are on. No indoor showers. Pets are not permitted on lifeguarded sections of beach, but may currently be walked through to reach open section of beach right to the stairs as you are facing the water. No pets north to the left as you enter the water. And that's all it says.
So there's no limitation of people except that they stay 12 feet apart.
Well, and it says, please follow, not your.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay,
So that's what they're doing.
okay.
But they're also in direct violation of the other state orders, which say we can't have bottle fillers or showers. So, I mean,
Yep.
so they're no
Okay.
better. I mean, yeah, they're not doing it any better.
So basically what we have here, we just have a situation that's just crazy and nutty, and we're trying to make the best of it. And I think that's all we basically can do. You know, we can't really babysit the beaches. The selectmen are gonna have to decide what they want to do. I know buses are interstate commerce.
Yeah.
You can drop off people wherever you want. You know, they can walk on the beaches. Okay, well, I can't talk anymore. I'm not supposed to.
Yep.
Well, I move that we make a strong recommendation from the,
You
from the,
can't. You don't have a quorum. It'll be two. I'm not even here, supposedly.
I got it. All right.
Yeah. So we can't do
Nick
Yep.
and I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you go. Okay.
yeah.
There you go. Stop that, Janet. Stop that right
I'll
now.
stop
No thinking for you. So.
So I think what I'm
What did
telling
you
you
say?
is that I'm going to move forward with the per person quotas with Suzanne. We're going to work on education. We're getting our county enforcer / educator, and that's the best we can do right now.
Seems like limiting the parking is about it.
But I
Well,
think
and
With-
I don't
with the
even think
education.
limiting the parking doesn't even make a difference if people are Ubering, lifting, and getting dropped off. I
I'm
mean,
saying that's about the only guideline that we have guidelines, but the only actual activity that we're taking would be limiting the parking a little bit.
well,
yeah,
you know,
until we get the numbers and then we limit the people.
Yeah.
can I, as a conscientious objector again, I guess. So I think limiting the parking has hurt overall. Just basically because it's not eliminating a problem. It's just creating different areas of different, problems for everybody. Besides, just like, okay, you have me drop people off. Okay. Those you don't know how many people I talked to this past weekend. They said, well, if they could have parked at Whitecrest, they would have gone to the beach that way instead of using me. So they're creating two different problems by limiting the parking. And I must say, on Friday at LeCount Hollow Beach, there was not an empty spot. There wasn't 25% reduction at all at LeCount Hollow on Friday. And on Saturday, I think if they consider the 25% reduction at Whitecrest, I don't know if they consider just the back lot as at 25% because the front lot was full. Nobody's going to drive by Newcomb, but that's what I see.
Yep.
Because let people
Where do
know.
you do most of your dropping off?
The guidelines for doing any type of dropping off at Cahoon Hollow is the fence. You look when you come out Cahoon Hollow Road, you look at the Coma, the driveway. It's off to the left. There's that fence along there, and that's where you're supposed to drop off.
I mean, but is that where everybody wants to go? Like, you don't get people requesting to go to Newcomb
No,
or to go to the ponds.
no.
Or McGuire. What about McGuire?
No.
No.
The people that are using the service of the Uber, they're parking anywhere they can find a spot in town, and they're taking a Uber or Lyft to the.
And it's the younger generation, right? Because
Yeah.
Janet, you know how to hail an Uber? I think
It's young people, probably. My normal things on that, like last Saturday, the age group was probably between 20 and 35,
yeah, okay.
and they all parked everywhere in town that was free to them. And again, that's you're not, because closing the beaches is just hindering how people are controlled, you know,
They're
and
really
actually money for the town as well. So it just bothers the hell out of me. So, but that's a different issue with the selectmen. So.
But it seems like we need to go back and rethink how we do most everything related to the beaches, because if we had a shuttle bus, we could then control and message to the people on our shuttle bus, here are the expectations, this is what's required. We have a lot where we allow them to park. We then offer drop off at one of 3 beaches. When one is full, then we say, listen, we can't bring you here, we can bring you here,
Yep.
here. We're like, but we don't have the capacity to do it that way. I don't think, like, that would be ideal in an ideal world. You know, you'd park at the school, or you'd park somewhere where we have a massive parking lot, and then we do the shuttling, the town, that is.
Oh, I've actually suggested that to, you know, people in town, that, you know, the town, get a shuttle bus, and they can use Whitecrest, try to park there, and then you just shuttle up and down Ocean View Drive.
Yeah.
You know, truthfully, this is the first year, okay, in 40 years that I actually was able to do something besides work on the 4th of July weekend. And last weekend, again, first time that weekend. But, you know, people bitch and complain about how much traffic is on Ocean View Drive. I've never seen it so busy in my entire life. You know, driving up and down, the people just looking for a parking spot. And the town is creating its own problems by what they did with Whitecrest. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what, you know, could be the cure. But we're killing ourselves in one sense, we're trying to help with a problem that the nation has, but we're making other problems that are just self-inflicted. So, again, I'm not supposed to be talking, but that's beside the point. But I think, Hillary, you got things that you can work on, and things that probably, you know, I don't know how far they can go, but when is our next meeting anyway?
Our next meeting is scheduled for the 2nd Wednesday in August, which I think might be August
12th.
12th.
Okay. All right then. Is there anything else we can talk about? Well, if we talk about something else, I can actually perform our opinion. That's funny. Come on, that's funny all the way around, people.
Well, Hillary,
Yes.
I guess if the only thing we can really try to do is encourage people to wear masks, to keep distance. But if we can't control how many people go to the seashore,
Nope.
then there's really no, as far as beach density, we can't really do very much. You know, if we can't control.
We can't control and protect people on land that doesn't belong to us.
No, exactly what I'm saying. So I somewhat trying to almost agree with Ken about the parking issues. It doesn't look like, you know, that maybe it isn't limiting. If we can't control, to me, if you can't control the number of people who actually walk down to the beach, well, we'll just have to hope they spread out, and we're not going to be policing the beach itself. We just got to educate people to do the right thing, and that's part of your education process. You know?
Yeah, the difficult thing is the population we need to educate doesn't want the
education. It doesn't want to listen. No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's very, very difficult scene. Hopefully, the season's over soon in a way, and they'll be moving on to, you know.
Well, I'm just going to say one more thing. One more thing. You know, I understand the idea of trying to limit the people and the cars at the beaches. And I think it was overreacting shutting down Whitecrest, because if they actually had worked with the Beachcomber, how they did the Funk Bus going back and forth, those people, there could have been like a recording on the buses trying to help people say, you got to make sure you do this, you keep your masks on. That could have been something that could have been worked on for, you know, the problem like what we're talking about now. You know, so there are things that should have been done, I think, beforehand. And right now we're trying to clean up a mess that not any of our fault, but it's just something that's been landed in our lap. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's all a novel experience for everybody. It is.
Well, I think that Ken brings up a good point, that what we're seeing is the ramifications of a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's important data. So that should affect decisions. You know, I mean, we should use that information to say, whoops, your heart was in the right place. You thought you were making the right decision, but guess what? It backfired. In other words, it's not helping. But the other thought that I don't want to be a worrywart, but now what we're doing is we're encouraging people to swim in non-lifeguard areas, which is could really, you know, as far as the seashore goes, bring up a lot of problems. You know, if we're encouraging people who really want to go to the beach not to stay in our town beach, which is lifeguard safe, we're now saying, go on out over there. Go on out over there. And who knows what could happen with that? I don't even want to bring up the word, but that's something that is real.
The reality, yeah. The
You're
reality.
safe from COVID, but you might not be safe from the elements in the water.
Correct.
Yeah,
There
the
you go.
reality, if you look at Newcomb Hollow, is that most people are on the seashore beaches. This Wellfleet Beach is very narrow, and it's very at high tide. Hillary is hardly any beach, so
Yes.
most of the people are on both sides. And whatever happens, Janet, it's true.
And where do
So on the
they
seashore-
swim? And where do they swim?
They swim in the seashore.
water?
They
Okay.
swim where the sandbars are, which are off Wellfleet beaches.
Okay, gotcha.
But
I didn't
I
know
mean,
that.
the lifeguards,
Never go to, yeah.
the lifeguards still try to cover the whole area. I mean, if you're talking about, you know, if a shark comes along, well, they run
Yeah,
down
yeah.
the beaches, they empty everybody out, you know, so they're somewhat aware of
Yeah.
the fact that most of the people are off the Wellfleet Beach because it's so small. So,
Yeah.
So we'll see.
all right, well,
So nothing, no.
Hillary, is there anything else, Hillary, that we could try to do?
I think let's try these things first, and perhaps a larger discussion needs to ensue so that we have better options. But again, I think, you know, everyone's trying the best they can. It's the situation is so new and no one's ever experienced
Right.
anything like it before. So I don't think any of the decisions that have been made were made lightly, and I think it was really what we thought would work, but it clearly doesn't. So
Well, it's sort of how we started dealing with the virus itself.
yeah,
You know, when we weren't
exactly.
so sure how it was going to act. So it's a work in progress. But Hillary,
Yeah.
I think last meeting you mentioned about the county actually providing a few people. Is that still in the works?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's still in the works, but again, it's what, July 17th, and we
Yeah,
still
I
don't
think
have
it's-
someone on board.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yes, we have a conversation with our enforcer educator on Monday. I'm sorry, on Tuesday morning at 9.
Okay.
So I'll have more information on that shortly.
Okay,
Great.
well, so then we're all set. I guess, can we have a motion to adjourn? Well, we can't even vote on that either.
Yeah.
Well, we can vote on a motion to adjourn because you can vote
Oh,
on
yeah,
it.
I can vote on that. There we go. Yay. So, I have a motion to adjourn,
Okay.
please.
So moved. Nick.
Second. Me, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right.
All right, people.
Thank you.
All righty.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, Hillary. Thank you.
Have a
Bye-bye,
nice
Brittany.
Let me
weekend.
just ask you about the church, okay?
Yeah, talk to me about the church.
Okay, so our congregation at max is at 22 people.
Okay.
And the average age